Have you ever had a money or career question you really wanted to ask, but didn't know who to go to or just felt uncomfortable even bringing it up? You're not alone. Talking about money can feel intimidating, even scary. And that's exactly what I'm trying to change. That's why I created a free virtual coffee chat, a casual, no-pressure 20-minute conversation where you can bring one thing you're wrestling with and we'll talk it through. No judgment, no jargon, no sales pitch, just clarity, ease, and a real answer from someone who gets it. If you've got something on your mind, don't sit in the confusion. Book a spot at limitfreelife.com and let's sip and sort it out. Hey there, and welcome to Money and You. I'm Michelle Perkins, your host. My search for more fulfilling work led me to career and business coaching, where I stumbled upon a game-changing discovery. Money issues often start with our mindset and habits. You see, our relationship with money is the key to overcoming those frustrating financial obstacles. As an entrepreneur, coach, and problem solver, I'm passionate about helping you create a great relationship with money. Because, turns out, that's the foundation for a limit-free life. Each week on Money and You, I speak with amazing guests about all things money, mindset, practical tips, and everything in between. We're here to give you new insights, education, and empowerment so money can be one of your favorite relationships. So join us for some lively conversations and let's transform your financial life together. Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Money and You Show. I'm so excited to bring you today's show. We are going to be talking about a lot of things related to financial literacy and financial empowerment, especially for women. And we have a great guest who lives in this zone and works in this area, and she's truly a wealth of knowledge. And I met her and really just love what she's doing, love her personality, love how she understands the emotional parts of money and how your relationship with money influences you. And she's really doing, she and the organization she works with are doing a wonderful, wonderful service for the world in terms of empowering people through financial literacy. So without any further ado, I know you'll learn a lot from the show. So, please stick around, and I'd love for you to learn a little bit about Irene Kelly. Irene, from a young age, she has been interested in the role that money plays in our lives. She decided to study finance and entrepreneurship at the University of Utah, and shortly after began working in the fields of impact investing and poverty alleviation. Through this work, Irene learned about the importance of financial education, both locally and abroad. Years later, she moved to Santa Barbara to work as an investment advisor and started volunteering with Weave, Women's Economic Ventures, as a bilingual financial educator. Now she's excited to work with incredible people every day, empowering clients to achieve their personal and business goals. And she has a quote after this bio that says, "Financial literacy is a social justice issue, and as the CEO of our own financial journeys, it is up to us to start asking for what we need and deserve." And I love that. I love that quote. So thank you, Irene. Welcome.
For having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you all.
Yeah, I'm really excited, and I've gotten involved with Weave, and I've gotten to know you a little bit, and you've taught a couple of classes that I've been to, which I thought were wonderful, and so how did you even get involved with Weave in the first place?
Ooh, that's a lovely question. I was actually working as a financial advisor in Santa Barbara. I had recently moved here. I was also teaching yoga, so I had my own business as a yoga teacher. And I started volunteering at Weave. And for your audience, if you don't know about Weave, Weave is a nonprofit organization that focuses on empowering people economically through entrepreneurship, access to capital, or financial literacy. And Weave has been in the Central Coast of California for almost 35 years. We actually have our anniversary this year. And I was very passionate about financial education when I moved to Santa Barbara, and I was working as a financial advisor. And when I heard about Weave, I was just intrigued by the mission of focusing also on economic equity and gender equity. And as a Latina woman, for me, that has always been part of this calling, right? Part of what I really care about, what I want to fight for. So I joined Weave again as a volunteer, and I was teaching financial workshops with Weave at the time. And I just I just felt this kind of gravitas towards the mission, the community, women like you that are part of this powerful mission. And I think I lasted as a volunteer for 2 years. Then the pandemic hit, and the opportunity to actually develop a full financial education program at Weave, not connected to entrepreneurship, financial education for everyone, and not only for women. Yes, we're meant and built for women, but we welcome people of all gender identities. That for me was something that I could not pass. Right, I had to make a change in my professional path to something that made me feel much more connected to the work, connected to my own mission, and also connected to my identity, being able to speak Spanish, being able to empower Latina women. That for me, that was very important. So that's how I joined Weave officially as a full-time employee. And that was 5 years ago. Time flies.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been so impressed, and we have a mutual friend who actually was the one who introduced me to you. Her name's Deborah Darris. She's also been on the show a couple of times. She's wonderful, and her career just keeps transforming. So she's so smart in the world of entrepreneurship and now AI and some other things. But I so I learned through her and through you that she teaches a course on entrepreneurship, and it's very interesting how the networking is just so phenomenal, and it's really good up in Santa Barbara. I've met so many people there's so many networking things going on there. It's been really interesting, but. So she introduced me to you, and then I started looking at what you're doing, and I was just immediately, drawn to it. And you offer not just you personally, but Weave offers several classes, and I'd like to just let people know right off the bat, so they don't have to wait till the end of the show to find out some of the amazing, services and classes that you provide. Can you just kind of run through some of those? And
Absolutely, and thank you for that opportunity, because as you say, oftentimes we don't know that we have all these resources available, right? Weave is actually part of this network of what we call women business centers. So if you are not living in the Central Coast and you want hands-on, in-person support, I encourage you to reach out to community developed financial institutions or women's business centers so that you can get the tools in your community as well, right? You can do both, because we have a lot of online resources that could be helpful from wherever your listeners are. In terms of services, I want to start with the kind of the component around how do we take control of our financial journey? How do we take control of our relationship with money, right? If we start there, we have free courses, free financial empowerment courses, both in person and online, that people can access again for free. So I would encourage you to check out our website, wevonline.org, and in the financial empowerment tab, you can start your journey with us, learning in the way that works best for you, whether that's via Zoom, via self-study course, or in person if you are in our region. That's kind of at the core of this concept of economic mobility, economic empowerment, right? Knowing how the system works. But unfortunately, oftentimes, knowing how the system works is not enough, right? We need the support system, we need the tools, we need to identify, hey, maybe we need to advocate better for ourselves when we see the discrepancy within what we get, what we make, and how expensive life is. We need tools. So we have also a course around credit building, and that course includes free coaching, right? And those are some available, all of this available in English and Spanish. Once you take control of that personal financial path and your relationship with money, if you are exploring getting additional income, that's where you can pursue entrepreneurship. And we have a lot of courses to support you in that path, from beginning courses to explore your business, to very robust courses to develop a business plan, or if you are a business owner and you're looking for scaling, that we also have courses around that. The course that Deborah, and shout out to Deborah that introduced us, the course that she teaches is called SET, which stands for Smart Entrepreneurial Training. This is a course that I believe it's over 10 weeks. It's a very robust, it's one of our most robust courses, and it really guides you through all areas of your business. So that's kind of on the business side of the equation of the services that we offer within Weave, or Women's Economic Ventures. And a lot of our offerings are free because we believe, especially when it comes to financial literacy, financial education, this is a social justice issue. We should learn this early on.
Yeah.
And learning it, and I know that we're speaking the same language. I've listened to some of your other shows around overcoming financial trauma and like our financial wounds. All of this is part of how we talk about money. This is not the conventional banking course, or let's talk about the financial system course. We really start with your mindset, your financial past, so that we can heal some of that past, honestly.
Yeah.
So that we can move on, right? Because once you heal that relationship with money, we go from scarcity mindset to abundance mindset. We go from these, sometimes these limited beliefs and frustration, frankly, because when we look around and we see our economy, it can be very frustrating.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. This is a time for us to get creative and tap into the power of your community, and tap into the power of education and the tools that we need, right? Being very mindful of knowing, that's going back to that quote of knowing what you need, knowing what you deserve, right? Feeling worthy of. That is part of how we teach. That is, and that's embedded into all of our trainings, whether it's for personal financial empowerment or business economic empowerment. We start with mindset.
Yeah, and I think that is so unique. You're right. You can go to the various banks where you have accounts, and they'll have, and these days, most of them, to their credit, have a little bit of financial education on there. Yeah, so it's great. But it comes from that place of, here's the roadmap, here's the formula, do these things. And it's great. It's good information to go into our brains, but what we need is something that we can actually do. And so if we don't believe that, either, like you said, we deserve it, we're worthy of it, or if you just don't believe you can do it, you can't imagine being able to save right now, or you can't imagine being able to pay off that debt, or you think, whatever you think, there's so many thoughts going around in our head that are based on our own belief systems and how we were brought up and the things that have happened to us. And that doesn't necessarily, it gets in the way of us just getting on one of these standard financial roadmaps. It's not that they're not giving you good advice. It's just advice doesn't matter if you can't implement it into your life. And your mind will be what's keeping you from doing that. So I loved the fact that you address this at a very, very early stage, when people maybe don't, have very little financial literacy. You're talking about that. So I feel like a lot of people talk about it after, towards the end of the course, and you address it right at the beginning, which is great.
Mm-hmm. If I may, Michelle, I want to echo what you said about the standard, because that's one of the reasons why I decided to leave conventional banking and come into this space, because there's no one size fits all. Like, we're all so unique. We all have different dreams, different skills, different strengths. So it makes sense that our financial paths are going to look a little different.
Yeah.
Right. And particularly when we start talking about inclusion within the economic system, then that's when we have to honor diversity, honor intersectionality within the people that come in and to learn about money and learn to take control of their relationship with money. That shows us how every time that we think about someone's financial journey, it needs to be personalized. It needs to be meeting people where that's centered on what you want for your financial future, not what I think you should have for your financial future.
Right. Very
different stories there. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so just grateful for the work that we get to do at Weave, because I saw the need for this work firsthand when I was a financial advisor. I saw people coming in with a lot of taboos, frankly, around money.
Yeah. Yeah. Why don't you give us a couple examples of not only what you saw when you were a financial advisor, because at least those people are walking in the door of a financial advisor and talking about money. They've made it that far. But what are you also seeing, at Weave that are, some of the things that are holding, especially women, back?
The first one that's coming up for me is the feeling of being worthy of, right? And particularly with women. 50 years ago, we were not able to get into a bank and apply for business loan without a male cosigner, right? That is devastating. If you really think about it, it's devastating, right? So that was not that long ago. And when we think about what's happening within our own social political system right now, as women, this can feel very defeating, right? And it can really hurt our notion of being worthy of respect within the financial industry, being worthy of the education that we need and deserve, right? In ways that are not perpetuating sexism, right? That's at the core of the issue here when it comes to really healing some of that financial past. If the financial past and the trauma that we have experienced was perpetuated by the inequities within the system, that makes an impact, right? So for us, the first taboo is, yes, you're worthy, right? Yes, you're worthy. And what has happened around us in terms of the inequities and the lack of inclusion, that is not okay. And it's okay to be mad. It's okay to be frustrated about it. The key is, how are we going to channel that in healthy ways to change things, right? That's one piece around the taboo, because the taboo tells you you're not worthy. You can't really change things. And in reality, we actually can. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here 50 years later saying, hey, we need to change this, right? There's leaders, both men, women, people of all genders, that have been fighting for economic equity. So now it's up to us to keep doing it, right? And keep thinking creatively, okay, that didn't work. What do we need to do, right? So that's the first kind of area of that taboo of worth. The second one that I want to share is that getting financial coaching, getting financial support, having a financial advisor is for the wealthy. That's the worst one that I dealt with as a financial advisor. That's how you build wealth, building a support system around you. That's how we build wealth, honestly. So we need to remove that taboo from our mindset, understanding that you don't need to know it all. That's why there's a whole industry around finances. I experienced a lot of people also, and this leads to that kind of third taboo, that would come in and then they would feel uncomfortable paying for the support, right?
Yeah.
And for me as a financial professional, that was hard, right? Because you're providing a service, you're providing that education, you're providing tools, you're connecting people with what they might need for their journey. So what I want to say is invest in yourself, right? Invest time in learning about money. Just the fact that you all are listening right now, you're investing your energy, your time, and that's precious. I want you to take a moment and just be like, you're doing it, right? You're doing it. Pat yourself in the back. So those are the three that I was thinking about, Michelle, before chatting, because I see those three kind of areas of taboos as some of the most limiting, right? And going back to that second one around financial coaching, financial support is for the wealthy, we need to really demystify that taboo, because there are organizations like Weave that are nonprofit organizations that are subsidizing these services so that they're accessible for everyone, so that we can all build wealth and we can all have these kind of support system, because the financial system is complex and it's always changing, and you don't have to know it all. You just have to build the support system around you that can include these podcasts, that can include professionals within Weave, that can include, hey, your insurance broker, hey, your banker, right? We sometimes underutilize our bankers, right? At the end of the day, you're the client of that bank. Go in, ask questions, say, hey, what other tools do you have available for me? So the moment you start noticing that you are absolutely worthy of being financially healthy and being wealthy, when you start feeling that, and this is something to repeat to ourselves, right? I loved one of your last episodes when you were all talking about It's kind of taking control of your financial mindset, healing your financial path. It's not quick. It takes time.
Yeah.
So being patient with yourself and taking those small steps, speaking up for yourself and your financial journey. What questions do you have? What do you want to learn about? Just make sure that you are investing in yourself, that you know that you're worthy of getting that support along the way. And this piece around it's okay to ask for help, because sometimes we also carry these taboos around, no, don't talk about money, no, that's a subject that we have to be careful with. That is a big challenge, a big obstacle when I think about economic equity, because the only way in which we're going to kind of close the gender pay gap, really get to this place where we feel that there's equity within our financial systems, is by talking about it. That's the only way.
I couldn't agree more. And, we are all pretty conditioned to not talk about it. You don't share your salary. I mean, we've all grown up with that. Ooh, don't talk about money, in this context or that context. And it's so wrong. It's exactly, and men do it much more easily than women do. And they are, I mean, not all men, but a lot of men are learning about money. They're interested, and so they're learning, and they're a little competitive about it. I think they want to make sure they're not missing out on some investment, or somebody else is doing something that they should be doing. So they're having those conversations a lot more than we are. And there's taboo around it. There's also a lot of shame where women feel like they can't have that conversation because they don't know enough and they'll sound stupid, which they won't. You have to, I talk about this a lot. I think money conversations are extremely important. And like you say, find your support group, because they want to have these money conversations with you. I'll never forget walking into my bank, and I always have a big bank, so I know I can access it everywhere. And then I always have a small bank because I do want to get to know the people in the bank. So I have a small one, and I'll go in there and we talk a lot, and one of them was, I think we got into a credit conversation, and she was just sharing all kinds of credit information about her own journey and gave me some tools. And I walked away and I still think about that conversation. Like, she really helped me. I started using some of the tools, and I thought, most people don't have a conversation when they go in the bank. They make a deposit or they do whatever and they walk right out. And so it is great to get to know, because when you know them, they will start sharing things with you about what they offer, and just other ideas. So, but your idea of just talking more about money, and if you feel like the people in your sphere don't want to talk about it, your friends don't want to talk about it, find the people who do, because there are plenty of people who love a money conversation. I have found, and I'm sure you have, that once you get started talking to people about money, they want to talk about it. They just don't have anybody else to talk with. So, yeah. And, the home dynamics will play into it. Everything's going to play into it. And so, even for entrepreneurship, if you're surrounded by people who have regular jobs, they're not going to really understand you as an entrepreneur. So I think you really have to find your places where you can talk to other entrepreneurs or people coaching entrepreneurs. I think all of this is, it doesn't necessarily happen in your immediate family or with your friends. So that's not really where you want to look for your support. I think it's better to get outside support, like with Weave. So yeah, anything that you see going on in the family dynamics too that may be harmful to people, actually, or helpful, either way.
I love that. I love that kind of train of thought around family dynamics, because it connects to why I do the work that I do, right? Like, it was within my family growing up. I remember stress connected to finances. I remember it. It was very impactful in my mindset, and it made me realize how heavy money can be, right? Like, at the end of the day, it's just a tool, right? It's a piece of paper, it's a coin, it's a tool. Yeah. Right? It's a means of exchange. That's what it really is. But we have so much kind of so much feeling, so many feelings associated with it, right? And our background needs to be honored when it comes to those feelings. Our financial past needs to be honored as well, because
Mm-hmm.
if you've experienced in your household any financial trauma, research shows that at the age of 3 years old, we start absorbing financial behaviors we're going to repeat as adults.
Wow. Yeah.
So just with that, family dynamics matter, and they matter a lot. But what matters most is taking ownership, meaning that our mindset can change. Our mindset is not set in stone, right? If you don't like what you experienced growing up, what can you learn from it? And be mindful of, I have this analogy in our classes. Our family dynamics are part of what we have in this luggage. Like imagine your financial journey, it's literally a journey, and you're carrying this suitcase, right? This luggage. If you open that suitcase, family dynamics and the impact they had in our mindset, that's there inside of that suitcase, right? And our mindset is really how I think about that suitcase, right? It also has other influences in your life. If you were one person that was very proactive in terms of learning, and you took the time to learn more about money and and look for resources, take classes, listen to podcasts, that is also part of your luggage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're opening this luggage, it's important for us to be very patient with ourselves, very compassionate with ourselves, because family dynamics have an impact in our financial mindset. That's proven. So the next step is for us to forgive what we need to forgive, right?
Yeah.
That's one
Yeah.
thing. Like I say to clients after we have a financial empowerment class. It's a 3-hour class where we start diving into your financial past. And I tell clients all the time, I don't want people to call their families after class and be like, "You're ruining my mindset." No, it's the other way around, right? No. I want you to realize that the people within your past did the best they could with what they had available to them. That enables, that thought alone can help us forgive what we might need to forgive and understand what we want to do differently.
Yeah.
And also what we want to repeat, because there might be a lot of beautiful, amazing things that we learned growing up. Like we got to celebrate those things as well.
Mm-hmm.
So in this journey of navigating family dynamics, you can also get support. There are financial therapists. It's a very interesting profession that connects therapy with money. That could be a way to dive into this if you had a heavy, I'm going to call it, I'm going to use the word heavy. If you had a heavy financial past where you had a lot of kind of trauma, there's things that you need to work on. That's when you lean into your team, right? And if you have a therapist, you can talk about this with your therapist, right? If you have a financial coach, talk about this with your financial coach. And that enables you to take inventory of what family dynamics did in your journey. Mm-hmm. And what you want to change about it. That's why our program is not only financial literacy. For me, literacy is not enough, right? Mm-hmm. We need to take action. We need the tools. We need the support system. That's when empowerment comes in for me, right? So that's why I really encourage people to be patient, but be proactive, right? Take those little steps, even just sitting down, journaling about what's coming up for you as you're taking classes, as you're listening to these conversations. What's coming up for you? Write it down, because what's coming up for you, it's exactly what you need to work on. And that's beautiful. Knowing that that's kind of our next step, that is something to celebrate in and of itself.
Oh, that was so good. And yes, I couldn't agree more. I just love this conversation. Yeah, I love the journaling. Because more than, yes, it's important to understand practical money things. How do I get out of debt? How do I build my credit? How do I save? But it's equally or more important, I think, more to understand yourself and money. And so what you're getting at is this whole uncovering and self-awareness around, where you are, what you say to yourself about money, how you think about it, all of these things, they're all going to, either help you or limit you. And so we've got to be aware of them like anything else. And we do this with so many areas of life. We're so self-aware about our hair, I mean, ridiculous things like, but we don't do it with money. And I think that's because of many of the things you've already brought up. We just push it aside, or we're afraid of it, or we don't feel worthy, or it's a heavier topic and it's more involved, but that just makes it more important, that we do spend the time and get to know ourselves in that arena. So, yeah. And, what do you see, in the people who go through your courses and get to that like next place where they're even a little more empowered and a little more ready to take on the next steps? How are they reacting and what are they saying to you?
Oh, I love this question. It makes me feel emotional because the people that go through our programs and are really taking charge of their financial path. They are the reason why we do the work we do. And some of the things that I'm noticing is, first and foremost, the kind of the sense of agency, right? The moment you say, I don't like this, I want to change it. There's this spark, kind of like it's kind of connecting with the power within you, right? To say, what can I change? Right? And who do I need? What do I need to change this? So that sense of agency, it's something very contagious and very, very beautiful, particularly when we connect the dots around economic inequities, right? So that's kind of the first thing coming in. People, you notice that they are in this journey and we are there to support them. So the second thing I'm noticing is this openness, right? And we have this, one of our guidelines for the course is leaning with curiosity. And I frankly recommend that for everything in life. It's very liberating, right? Leaning with curiosity. They're leaning in with curiosity when it comes to the class, when it comes to the workshops we offer, when it comes to journaling. Sometimes you come into a session and it's a session on financial empowerment. You're not expecting to do deep breathing with a person it's also a yoga teacher. You're not expecting to journal, and people are open to it. And for me, that's something so special because we need to, it's like take that leap of faith, right? For us to, it has to get messy before it gets clear, right? When it comes to kind of navigating our financial path, which is one of the trickiest parts, honestly. But once people are going through it, what I'm noticing is a lot of people are being very honest about what they're feeling, right? And one thing that it's intentional also in class, I have this mantra I love, it's called name it to tame it, right? And I keep repeating, we got to name it to tame it. What are the things you want to change? What are the things you want to accomplish? Name them, right? And what are the obstacles on your way? Name them. So I feel that people that are going through these, through our courses, through this journey of taking control of their money and their relationship with money, they have these kind of this fuel within that is telling them, hey, you deserve better. And that, in terms of building a community, that's a powerful energy to have in a community. And the other sense that I get from people is that sense of liberation, right? Like when we start our classes, we say, how do you want to feel when it comes to your finances in the future, right? Like I encourage people every month when you're going through your finances, when you're having your financial date with yourself and your money, that's where think about, how do I want to feel when I look at my numbers? And those words, when we ask in class, oftentimes we hear things like, I want to feel stability. I want to feel freedom. I want to feel this sense of peace when it comes to my money. And that's what I'm seeing when people are doing the work, because you have to take the class, then you have all these tools, then you know how to budget, you have all the tools, right? Taking action, that is the part where sometimes people take longer than others. But as long as you know that you have available all these resources, all this education, I think that already helps you feel a little more peace when it comes to your financial future. But those are some of the things that came up for me in terms of what I'm hearing from people. The one last thing that just came up for me, We had a client that took our course. She was actually from out of state, so she took it online. And she reached out to me. She said, "This is the first financial course where I did not feel any shame and guilt."
Wow. Wow.
Yes, yes. And for me, that's powerful, right? For me, that's just it's validating. It's validating the type of work we're doing, and it's also validating the importance of naming this shame, naming the guilt, because sometimes we feel like, oh, I should be here within my financial life, or I should. No shoots, please, because it's like when we're using the shoots, we're comparing ourselves, right? And I heard a client say the other day, like, at this point, I should already have my house. Like my parents, mija, that's what we say in Spanish, like, honey, no. Your parents have a very different economy they were dealing with, right? So just from that starting point, it's unfair for us to say, I should be here and there. No, no, that limits you from the get-go to because you're bringing all this guilt when what we really need is to come in with open mind, open ears, open heart to do this work around healing our financial past and taking control of our financial mindset. Once I think doing that work enables us to better understand the financial system, because now it's like in learning, we want to be we want to have our nervous system calm before we come into these learning spaces, right? So that's another thing. If I'm going to be talking about building credit profile, credit scores, for us to navigate those topics that might feel very foreign to a lot of people, it's important for us to make sure that we covered the basics, which is the mindset, which is your habits, which is what is it that you want, so that when we're learning, we're being intentional about what we need to learn about the system. Otherwise, it's very overwhelming.
Oh, I really love this. And you're so right. And, your nervous system, that's something that, never came up when I was working as a CPA or going to school. And nobody ever mentions the intersection of your nervous system and the way you do money. And, so many of us are making financial mistakes because we're overreacting, or we're just, we're reacting from a place of fear. And we make a lot of mistakes doing those things. And so being able to check in and calm your nervous system down first and delay decision making until you feel centered, it's a huge deal. And, these are things that you're not going to learn in school. You have to learn from people like you or me, because nobody's talking about these in academic places or in business places. And it's really important. And I've seen very successful people who make a lot of money still make a lot of mistakes because of exactly that. They get into a space of fear, or something's going on, and they, sell off their portfolio, or they do something that is just reactionary. And so at any level, you could be reacting in a way that doesn't serve you. And so this isn't just about people at the beginning. This is about people at any stage.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is throughout it. You reminded me of when I was still a financial advisor and we had the pandemic. The stock market was going bonkers, like they say. And I remember feeling like, oh, I never thought my yoga background was going to come in so helpful. Right? I never thought that. But it was because ultimately it is personal, right? Like money, it helps. It has a big impact in our mental health, number one. Like there's research that shows that just thinking about money can already have an impact in your anxiety levels, just thinking about money. And for a lot of people that have that have the means to have stability within their lives, this might not be that big of an issue. But most people, even Santa Barbara County, where I'm based out of, people think, oh, it's such a wealthy, beautiful place, right? But we have one of the highest rates, poverty rates within the state of California. So income inequality is something that we don't often talk about when it comes to financial literacy. And it's important for us to note that, because not everyone is going to come in with the same with the same trauma. Not everyone is going to come in with the same needs in terms of financial education. So
Right.
for us to be mindful of meeting people where they're at and prioritizing trauma informed products, services, education, that's major. If we want to really tap into financial education and literacy as an engine for poverty alleviation, economic mobility, we do need to be very mindful of how we talk about this with people that have experienced a lot of trauma. And that includes a lot of women and
Yeah.
a lot of communities of color that have been hurt by the financial system.
Yeah, you mentioned that in a course that I took with you, and I found that fascinating because you spent some time there, and it really opened my eyes too to, the depth of whatever trauma you've been through really informs you as to how quickly you can go to these practical steps. So
Yes.
I found it fascinating. And, because you want to find solutions right away, like, quick, run and do this. But some people need time to heal that before they can actually take those steps. And, which is, it's not good or bad. It just is. And it has to be acknowledged and dealt with. So, yeah, I think that you really have amazing tools and services for people, and I really love the Credit Builder course too, because I feel like people spend a lot of money on services to build their credit, and I see a lot of times people paying a lot and not really getting much out of it. It's another area where if you can take control and you can understand it yourself, you'll do much better. So, yeah, why did you choose that as one of the focal points?
We actually conducted several focus groups within our community to
Okay.
identify where the biggest needs were.
Yeah.
And when we started with the general financial education or financial empowerment class, we noticed that the biggest or the biggest questions that we were getting were connected to credit, right? And in 3 hours, if we're talking about finances in a holistic manner, there's not enough time to talk about credit and demystifying credit. That's a whole different world, right?
Yeah.
So we noticed, and we also heard from several clients in this process of doing this market research, having focus groups. We also heard the fear connected to really getting out of debt, the possibility. Is that possible? A lot of
Yeah.
people are very, very like leveraged, we say, like they're the high levels of debt. Particularly we think about the pandemic, because a lot of people are carrying debt for like on top of their other normal debt, right? Like student debt, your mortgage, your car, all of these things this is good debt, right? At the
Yeah.
end of the day, it's good
Yeah.
debt. It's investing in your future.
Right.
The challenge is when the products that we picked were not the best for us, right? That were not products that were inclusive or fair or transparent. And then we're dealing with astronomical interest rates and fees that put us in a place where you can feel like the hamster in the wheel.
Yeah.
And that is, it's soul sucking. Like that is something that we felt when it came to these focus groups and these spaces where we were talking about money, and we were diving into what are the biggest obstacles when you think about how you want to feel in your financial future. Credit came up again and again. And ultimately, credit is one of the most powerful tools we have in our economy to build wealth. The challenge is how we use it. It matters a lot here. And that's when we notice we need a separate offering just to focus on credit for
Mm-hmm.
people that are either completely new to credit or people that are looking to improve their credit. So we built a 6-week course free that anybody can register for in our website. Again, weaveonline.org. In the financial empowerment tab, you can find there the Credit Builder course. And the course includes 2 hours of one-on-one financial coaching.
Mm.
And it also includes this deliverable of building a credit building action plan. If you are doing your homework every week, by the end of the course, you have a credit building action plan that you can work on after you take the class.
Mm.
So it's like you identify what are the things, what are the steps, so that you have that clarity when it comes to the path ahead of you, which is sometimes the tricky part when we're like, I don't know how to start, how to do it. That's why we build the supportive services
Mm.
through that particular program where we have the coaching, the credit building action plan. And after people take that class, they can identify what else they need within their journey. If they need access to, for example, credit builder loan, we can connect them with our network of like-minded organizations that prioritize inclusion within their financial services. So that's something that we're also equipped to do after people take the class.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I think that is so valuable. And I've had the experience too of volunteering to do some financial literacy courses for people who, in my opinion, they were starting really at the beginning. And so I was going in, ready to teach everything from how to set up a checking account to budgeting. And I found too what they wanted was credit information, which I was fascinated by that. So, and I love this because I know many, many times people put off dealing with their credit and then they need a car or they need something. And, it takes time to improve your credit score. And so whoever you are, I think you want to do this and just prepare yourself because it's going to come up in life and you can't do it last minute. You need to be working on that all the time. So, yeah, well, Irene, this has been so informative and I love what you do. I love, that you're so passionate about it. I love that you bring your yoga training in because I think it's so makes so much sense to me. And I will put information in the show notes, but once again, can you give people, a way to contact, your organization, how to access the services? And I'll make sure I include that in the show notes too. But I'd love for you to tell us one more time.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you again, Michelle, for inviting us to this space. We love working with you. I love seeing you in our classes and just being thought partners in this space. I think that's another area of this work that is needed for us to be more inclusive financially. In terms of how you all can reach us, first our website wevonline.org. You can also call us. Our phone number is 805-965-6073. And you can also follow us in social media. We have a really cool YouTube channel where we have a lot of the webinars that we've had available to you all. So that's another area that I would say take a look at that. And in our website, you can subscribe to our newsletter. That's how you're going to find out of the dates for upcoming classes. And you can just enroll, reach out if you have any questions. You are not alone when it comes to your financial empowerment journey. And we're happy to be here supporting you.
That's so fantastic. Thank you. And I was so thrilled sometimes you're just amazed when you find an organization that is so great and you're like, how come I've never, known about this already? So I feel really fortunate to have connected with you all. And I didn't know about the YouTube channel. I'm excited about that. So I'll subscribe. And so thank you. This is great. And I really hope people will check out Weave and look into some of the courses. And, it's great when you have online courses that you can do from anywhere. So it really opens it up to people all over. So thank you. Thank you for what you do. And thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. And it's a great way to start the year too for people to get this. I love the idea of really identifying what can I learn this year about finances. I mean, for all of us, there's more to learn. So pick something and make that part of your year because you're right. We should all be paying attention to it. We should all be learning. We should all be implementing and continuing to move to the next steps. There's always more to learn. And the more you get into it, the more you can find those areas that you're really interested to. I mean, it's one thing to learn the basics, but then say you do want to start a business or say you do want to invest in properties or whatever, now you have the foundational information to let you go to these next levels too. So it's really important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I would also say that as you go through this journey, if you identify areas that are difficult for you, right? That's where give yourself grace and reach out to people that can support you, right? Like we have a bookkeeping coaching service for people that are either self-employed, they're business owners, and you're busy building the business, offering the service. So
Hmm.
it's okay to say, I want an expert to take a look at this and help me manage it. That's okay as
Wow.
well, right? That's
Wow.
okay as well. Invest in you, but I think investing in our financial journey and our education and our support system is like it's also investing in our health and our mental health. Because when you have that taken care of, it's easier to kind of exhale and be like, okay, we're good, right?
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's important for your whole life. It's very holistic in that way. When if you get your money house, under control and in order, you're healthier, your relationships are better. I mean, really everything improves. So that's yeah, it's great. So again, thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. And listeners, take advantage of all this wonderful information and share it with your friends, family, anybody that you know that you think could benefit from this and access these tools and services. Please share it. And let us know if you like the show. Give us a like and a review if you're so inclined. We really appreciate it. It really helps us. And thank you. We'll see you next week.